Next week are the CrossFit Games, the championships of that sport, and so I thought it was only appropriate that I talk a little bit about some of my thoughts on CrossFit today. I had my first introduction to it in 2010. I was training at Gold's Gym at the time with another trainer named Seth, and we both quit there, and he started his own gym, which became a CrossFit box, and he's got a successful gym today, put it up CrossFit in Orem. But that was my first introduction, as he was starting to set up his gym and seeing how they did things and experience some of that. But just to give you a little bit of information about the CrossFit Games, they have basically an open event where anyone in the world can participate. And if those that qualify move on to some regionals, and they have some qualifying events until they get to the top 40 men and women in the world. They come together every July and have the games where they find one male and one female winner out of it. So it's a pretty exciting time. So as you watch the CrossFit Games and see highlights from it, you'll see these athletes are just the very tip-top, cream of the crop. It's just amazing how elite they are and their conditioning. One of the most dominant CrossFitters for some time was Rich Froning. He won 4 years in a row, and I didn't think he could do better than that until Matt Fraser came along, and he won the last 5 years. And he just retired this last year, so it's an open field with the men. On the women's side, Tia Claire Toomey has won the last 5 years. She's been super dominant. She'll be competing again this year. Now, maybe some of you have noticed CrossFit's sometimes the butt of jokes. They get a lot of bashing against them, typically from bodybuilders and some other weightlifters. They'll kind of bash on the sport. Some reasons might be for their kipping pull-ups, where they look like they're doing convulsions on the bar sort of thing. They make fun of their form and stuff like that. However, I'd like to point out, I'm sure any serious CrossFit athlete could pump out a ton of very strict form pull-ups, so that's not that big of an issue for me. I think another reason people make fun of it is just because of many CrossFitters. They have this almost evangelical zeal behind their wanting to share the good word of CrossFit with everyone. They're so excited about it, so always talking about it. Anyway, that's kind of a stereotype they've earned over the years for that. So I'd like to share with you 3 things I like about CrossFit and 3 things I hate about it. So this will be fun to show you the flip sides. First of all, the things I like, the variety. It is so nice to show up at the gym and say, here's what we're doing today, and you can see, you could be rope climbing or riding a bike, lifting weights, running. I mean, there's just a variety of things. So I just love the variety. It's like a little kid in PE in those old days when you do relay races and fun stuff like that. It just makes it a lot more exciting than just going through the motions at the gym doing the same thing all the time. The second thing I like about CrossFit is the camaraderie. I've never seen in any sport, coaches and teammates and other people at the gym rally around others that do it and offer so much support. I mean, it's just such a tight-knit community. I still can't figure out why that is, what happens, but they've got a great sportsmanship, great camaraderie, great support in the CrossFit community. So that's something that's really impressed me. The third thing I like is the intensity. You don't just show up and lollygag and go through the motions there, but it's usually a pretty intense workout, and you're going to leave tired with a good, doing a lot of work. They have a standard, an RX they call it, which is the standard that you shoot for. But a lot of people, due to injuries or age or conditioning, whatever, they have different levels where they can modify and adjust your workout, which is helpful. But intensity is always great with that. Now I want to tell you 3 things I don't like about CrossFit. The first one, intensity. It's got the flip side. I like it, but I don't like it because it just is, the workout of the day sometimes it's just so extreme. There's so much volume. And especially if you look in the games, it's insane. They have, over 3 days, they do like 12 different events. Most bodies couldn't withstand that type of stress, but somehow they do in the games. But I just think also with so much intensity, even if you've got good coaching and they talk about proper form and that sort of thing, when you're doing a timed relay race with people, they got music pumping in the background, your teammates are cheering you on, and you're exhausted, your form's going to go out the window. I mean, realistically. So there are opportunities for people to get injuries. I've been injured many times. Not blaming CrossFit. That happens in every sport. There's injuries, but just due to the intensity and the volume, it can be hard for someone that's going full bore all the time in it. Another dislike is the cost. Typically, to join a CrossFit gym, you're going to pay 3 to 4 times more than you would for just a standard gym membership. So that's something that can deter a lot of people from getting involved. All right, my third thing I don't like, this is more bitter grapes than anything, but the sport really does, it does cater to people with a gymnastics background or Olympic weightlifting background. If you have an experience with those, you'll do great in CrossFit. A lot of tall, lanky guys that might be good at basketball, they'll come in there and they really struggle with some of those movements. I know my range of motion was horrible on a lot of things. I mean, I couldn't do overhead squats, I couldn't do handstand walking or handstand push-ups. Some of the lifts I struggled with. And so I was good at box jumps, rowing, wall balls, running, stuff like that. But there's a whole lot of that I couldn't do well. So again, thank goodness for their modifications and adjusting the workout according to people's abilities. And as much as I appreciate that, sometimes they do things like we're going to walk across the gym on our hands, and it's like, I'll just go in the corner and play with this coloring book until you're done with that, then I'll come join again. So there's some of the things are a little more advanced, but again, not to bash that. It's just if you're a shorter person also, you're not going to see people over 6 feet tall at the CrossFit Games. Just it doesn't cater to that body type. So anyway, that's just a small minor thing. That's mostly my bitterness for being a tall person. But things I love about it, things I hate. I'm a big fan of CrossFit. Since I've been in Africa the last 4 years, though, I haven't stepped foot in a CrossFit gym. I miss it, but what I miss the most is as a fan, I've loved watching it. I've just been a diehard fan watching these athletes. So entertaining to see the different personalities and their strengths and weaknesses, and to see them combat against each other on a regular basis. So I'm really looking forward to this upcoming week where they have the CrossFit Games. In fact, I'd rank well above the Super Bowl CrossFit. It's just so much more exciting for me to watch than a 4-hour game and all the hype and stuff like that. But there's just so much to take in. It's so interesting. So anyway, I'd encourage you, if you're not that familiar with it, maybe watch some highlights this week and see. It's pretty exciting stuff. I'm going to end with just my predictions for the upcoming year. With Fraser out, I would have to go with the favorite of either Noah Olson or Justin Medeiros. That mullet power really showed well last year. On the women's end, you got to be crazy to bet against Tia Claire Toomey. But if someone could pull it off, I would guess maybe Haley Adams as a newcomer. There's lots of women that might be able to pull off the upset though, but it's just a fun sport. I'm looking forward to watching it, and I hope you can enjoy it also.